Hey everyone, this is Sabrina. Welcome back to my channel. I'm excited to do another May book favorite. This time I'm doing Book Lovers by Emily Henry. Now, it's going to take me about 3 tries to get the design that I want because I start out with this stack of rainbow books and rainbow washi from Paper Person Shop. But I also wanted to try to use these luggage cases that I had printed out. In the end, I'm going to wind up getting rid of both of those because I just did not like them. I did know that I wanted to stamp some luggage cases from Everyday Explorers and use those. I'm stamping a ton of them because I know I'm going to cut them out and just not the part that says let's go. I could have used washi tape to do the masking technique, but that would have made it take too long. So fussy cutting it out and taking away the let's go works much better. I also stamped the other phrases that I need or I wanted, which was Small Town Charm, Love This Book, and Library Book. Small Town Charm just refers to like where this book took place, which was Sunshine Falls, North Carolina. So I have all of those and now I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut those out. And my plan is to color those in with the colors that are on the book cover. So orange, yellow, and blue. And once I realized that that's what I want to do, I kind of turned off the camera and got some markers that matched and went ahead and fixed my design. For right now, I'm finishing up cutting out these pieces. Now the Small Town Charm has like the ticket edges to it, like perforated ticket edges, and I went ahead and cut it out that way. It was a lot of fun and also a little bit of work, but definitely worth it. I also stamped Love This Book, and I'm going to put that up in the left corner where my book review thoughts are going to go. I am still continuing with the suitcases, and I'm very excited to use those suitcases because you know that I love to find like Google images that will work for my book journal, but I did not find any suitcases that would work, and I just wasn't liking any of them. So I figured, you know what, I'm going to go to my tried and true stamps, and that is what I did. Okay, so I've got those all finished, and now I'm going to play around with where I want a few things. I also have a sticker that I found from my Happy Planner stash that said yes, and so I added that in, and I like it. It'll peel up easily if I didn't want to use it, but I'm going to go ahead and keep that portion. I also, when I was looking at my stamps that were kind of below this book journal, I noticed that I have the book stamp from Everyday Explorers, and I was thinking to myself, wait a minute, maybe I could do a stack of books that is the colors of the book cover. Well, I kind of figured this out after I colored in all of these suitcases because I was thinking, you know what, it'd be really cool if I had, you know, a stack of books that, like I said, match the book covers. So that's what I'm going to do in a minute, and it's going to change my whole entire design, and it's going to make it the same way, or the way that I was thinking in my head, basically. Because I went into this project knowing that I was going to document this book because not only did I love it, well, of course I loved it, right? And another big reason was just I had so many quotes from this book. So many quotes. I have a whole page dedicated to the quotes, which is going to be the right-hand side. And a whole page was not even enough for all the quotes. So I am going to write all those quotes down, but first I'm kind of figuring out where I want my suitcases, and I know I want them at the bottom. So this is the moment where I figured out, you know what, I really want to try this idea. I want to try a stack of books in orange, yellow, blue in that pattern and see if I like that. I did add in a red book. It's kind of subtle and you may not notice it unless you're looking. So I guess you could say I have an Easter egg in my spread now, but the book that the two characters are passing back and forth is red. So I figured I'll just add in a red book in there, and now it's in there. And I just keep going with the pattern until I feel like I have enough. And somehow I wound up doing the exact right amount that is the same height as the book that I have printed out, which was pretty cool. So now I'm going to fussy cut this out and see how I like it over on the left hand side instead of the rainbow die cut. And yes, I absolutely love it. It is what I was going for. So I'm going to go ahead and take up that rainbow die cut and also take up that washi tape that I'm not going to use. And since I love to save everything, like I'm sure a lot of book journalers and scrapbookers like to save everything, I actually took this washi and I was like, where can I use it? I actually put it in my passion planner in September. So in September, I will make some sort of book spread during that week. So now that washi has a home and it's not being thrown away. I also have a die cut from Paper Person Shop that says I loved this book. It's kind of a cobalt blue, and I decided I'm going to go ahead and keep that die cut. It'll bring your eye and focus down to the book cover. So I'll just add in a little bit of stamping of cobalt with my cobalt ink, and that will balance out that die cut. I also added in some washi tape in the various colors that I have, which is blue, yellow, orange, and I love that. Smeared the yes when I moved it, so I just used my sand eraser to kind of get rid of that. The next step is adding in some stampy layers in the various corners and kind of to place my visual triangle. So I'm going to put a scripty type of stamp from Everyday Explorers. If it's still available, I will leave the link in my description box, but I felt like it was perfect with the scripts and the words, so I added it at the end of the suitcases, up by the washi tape, and then over to the left where I'm going to put my thoughts. So that makes a great little triangle. Also added in some X's and dots with orange, and I thought about adding in stamping with my yellow ink, but that yellow ink is so finicky and funky sometimes, I just didn't want to deal with it. So I'm going to add in a light blue ink that kind of matches the cover, and it's just a book and a suitcase. So just little icons of a suitcase and a book. And that'll be it, and then I can start adhering down my suitcases. I am so happy with how this turned out, and that's part of the fun of scrapbooking, right? Is kind of just playing around and seeing what you come up with and sticking with it. Taking breaks if it's not the idea that you had in mind, which is what I did at one point. I was just like, this is not turning out the way I want. So I'm glad I stuck with it, because I just adore this book, and I already said, but I highlighted so many quotes from this book. I probably could have made a ton more pages and notes and thoughts about this book. It was just a really good book. Okay, so thoughts. This book is what everybody's been talking about. Everybody's been talking about it, and I finally got a hold of this book, and it truly does have some memorable characters in Nora and Charlie, especially Charlie. I just finished up adhering the books and the library book because I had forgotten those. So Charlie is really kind of my favorite character. He just has a lot of awesome things to say in the book, and how he feels about Nora. It's just, I just love his character. So Nora is a literary agent in New York, and she doesn't mind that she's not like the typical stereotypical woman being the sweetheart or the laid back lady. She's just a tough agent, but she is also very devoted sister to Libby, and that's important because Libby decides or kind of convinces her to go to a trip to Sunshine Falls, North Carolina, and she happens to run into a editor from the same city, New York City, Charlie, and what follows is falling in love through books, a small bookstore, and small town charm, and it's just an incredible book. And I loved seeing each piece of their love come together, and just their whole story was just so sweet. And I've seen somebody else review it and say it's like a cozy love story, and I think that is pretty much right on. It's just a wonderful story. So I wrapped up my thoughts, and now I'm going to do my highlighting with the blue marker, and then I will go on to my quotes. Highlighted their names, and then literary agent, finding each other, small town, and finding a person that is worth it, because that's also a central theme in this book, is finding someone who's worth it, worth the change in life, and worth the adventure and the struggle to kind of make it work, because right, it's kind of a choice. to make it work. All right, so my first quote, okay, don't laugh, but this quote totally resonated with me. It says, okay, they're just arms. Chill, Nora. Straight men have it so easy. A heterosexual woman can see a very normal-looking non-sexual appendage, and biology's like, step aside, last 4,000 years of evolution. It's time to contribute to the continuation of the human race. And she's talking about Charlie's forearms. And I, without saying too much, I totally relate to that. I'm like, something about my husband's forearms. Yes. So I had to include that quote. The next one is, that's what being near Charlie is like for me. There could be a raging wildfire racing toward me from the west, and I'd still be straining eastward towards his warmth. So I loved that one. The next one is a little bit of a longer one, and it says, and you've seen me. And that's Nora talking. I mean, you've watched me. And then Charlie responds, of course I effing did. He says in a low, rough voice, I can't stop. I'm always aware of where you are. I want to see your face get stern when you're emailing or when you get excited about something that you just read. So I loved that quote. Again, like I said in the beginning, Charlie is just very descriptive with his words and descriptions of how he falls in love with Nora, and it's the best to read, just the best. My last quote could have probably used a little more context because they were kissing, but I ran out of room and it was a little bit explicit. But I put, it's hard to think in words right now, Nora, and I loved that. So I just added in that, and I was able to get 4 quotes, but I still have a million I could have picked to add here. So I will stamp in I will highlight in a pattern of yellow, orange, and then orange. So I highlight some words from the first quote, and then the third longer one, and then I'll finish up with some orange highlighting. And I have to clean my yellow Tombow as I go, but that's okay. And you guys, I just love how this came together. I love this journal. It is such a favorite project of mine, and I hope that you guys have enjoyed seeing this one come together, and I'll have another May favorite spread next Tuesday. I'm very excited about that. Hope you've enjoyed. I'd love a thumbs up or a subscribe if you're new to my channel. All right, have a great day. Bye.